Welcome to OECD Podcast, where policy meets people.
Recent OECD data shows that less than 40% of young people aged 18 to 30 feel they have the skills and experience needed to start a business. In today's episode, you'll hear how youth entrepreneurship policies are helping bridge that gap and what decision makers need to know to better support the next generation of innovators. I'm Tara O'Neill, and today we're bringing you a special episode recorded during the Youth Entrepreneurship Policy Academy YEPA Summit in Brussels. This session captures YEPA's mission through an inspiring panel of 3 young entrepreneurs who share their journeys, including the highs, hurdles, and lessons learned. The session is moderated by Baptiste Mandouze, Social Economy Policy Officer at the European Commission. Let's dive in and hear their stories.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. I'm really happy to be here, and I would like you to do a warm welcome to our 3 panelists. We have Adrian, founder of the Mesera company. Welcome. We've got Elina also, CEO and founder of Euron. And finally, Mateo, CEO and co-founder from Deep Sea. Can you take a few minutes and present a little bit your business and what it's all about, okay? Maybe let's start with Adrian first. Thank you.
Okay, well, first of all, thank you for having me. I'm Adrian, I'm 22. I study law in Vienna, but why I'm here today is because I founded Meshara. What is Meshara? Let's start maybe with the problem first. A third of the global population does not have internet. They are offline. That is because local infrastructure just isn't available, and alternative solutions such as satellite internet, for example, are still very expensive or too centralized or simply not scalable. With Meshara, we try to tackle this. We build digital infrastructure for regions that simply don't have it right now, and we achieve this by creating the first truly scalable mesh network. This means that essentially, imagine the router that you have at home, but this router can be placed anywhere. So a mountain, the forest, the desert, or simply your roof. And this router can then connect to other routers within an up to 15-kilometer radius. And they can talk to each other and therefore establish a network or a communication link in under 3 minutes. The system can run fully autonomously, so you don't need any infrastructure in the area, be that power or communication infrastructure. So it's completely off-grid and designed as an intranet, or it can fully connect to all infrastructure that's already there, so from power to internet connectivity, and therefore serve as an uplink to the internet. This enables all kinds of communities to deliver education, to deliver healthcare, to deliver emergency services, and be fully resilient even in the worst possible conditions, for example, a blackout. Not only do we roll this out right now in, for example, Cameroon and Ghana, but we're also aiming to do a European network where, for example, governments can have a backup infrastructure for their resilient institutions or necessary institutions, or, for example, for private businesses that are looking to scale their communication networks off-grid, or, for example, simply for IoT networks. So yeah, that's me.
Wow, that's really impressive. And for spending 3 years working in Ghana, no doubts that you're changing the world. Elina.
Hi, my name is Elina Cohen-Periano. Very glad to be here and to see so many people merging towards youth entrepreneurship. So I'm 25 years old. I started being an entrepreneur when I was 17. I launched a charity to help young migrants reinsert socially and professionally in France. Then I've also started a project in Latin America. It was more in the tech field to create a new product in the equestrian market. So I'm from business school, but I've also entered the engineering side also to explore more ways of becoming an entrepreneur, even in tech. And then when I came back to France in 2022, while I was doing my master, I actually realized there were a lot of student entrepreneurs that were trying to develop their project, to raise, to grow. But I did realize that in education, in higher education, there were still a lot of things lacking to help those student entrepreneurs. So what I've experienced is that sometimes youth consideration, for entrepreneurship is not that huge. So they are seen not as people that are making things or driving change, but also of people doing something outside class, and that's sometimes not the focus some professors or some schools do value. However, I've seen so much energy on people, amazing projects, people really driving change in so many industries. And so I really told myself, I want to help those young people. I've experienced this life as a student entrepreneur, and that's how I created Euron. So basically, Euron is working in higher education and in public institutions to drive change and empowering young entrepreneurs. So we work with schools to design new programs, new academic and also student life to boost youth entrepreneurship and to help them also succeed after their classes. But what I've also seen in my country and also in Europe is that there are a lot of things that do exist for young people, but sometimes either they are not known by young people or they are really spread around. And I do think we really need to focus on what we offer to young people with the work we did with the YEPA legacy on different parts that young people need. So I really, really want to engage in just societal change as we had seen now, because I do think young people need support, and I do think young people are really, really smart and can help a lot. So I'm really happy, and thank you everyone that you also share this mindset, and we are all contributing to youth entrepreneurship policy making.
Well, thanks a lot. Round of applause. Yeah, well, I think we all do believe that the young generation is much smarter than the oldest one. Maybe let's go to you, Mateo. You're the CEO and co-founder of DeepSci or DeepSci. I don't know how you pronounce it.
DeepSci, yes.
Okay, please let's present your business.
Yes, what we do is we help psychiatrists find the best treatment for patients with depression. And we do that by analyzing brain data from the electroencephalogram and the electrocardiogram. And we have markers and patterns that have a correlation with the efficacy of certain treatments. And these are treatments mainly that have an influence on the biochemistry of the brain, meaning, for example, antidepressants and also some other interventions. And what we do is we analyze the brain data and we give the psychiatrists or the treating physicians a report, like a lab sheet, that they can use to optimize their treatment decisions. Exactly. And we are a Swiss company. We are now active in Switzerland. We are delivering every month dozens of reports, and we are also active now in some other clinics, also in Toronto and in Abu Dhabi, and we are expanding now, or at least aiming to expand.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I think you're following all of you, the YEPA since the very beginning. We do hope that, like Switzerland being surrounded by an EU country, you will step in also in the EU in the coming months or in the coming years.
Yes, that's the plan, yes.
That's the plan. That's a good plan. Now, so as I say, I'm not young, I'm not an entrepreneur, and I'm more into the policy. When I listen to you, for instance, I could have imagined that like you could have moved to big tech company, or you could have like being a civil servant trying to connect the youth with the needed resource, or you, Mateo, you could have been a researcher working for hospital. Or why did you choose the tough, because I think it's tough, and challenging path of becoming an entrepreneur? Maybe, Elina.
I think I would say to drive change. Throughout my short career doing internship and alternance, I've noticed that there were a lot of people struggling or that needed help. But I also felt that if I really want to help people and really drive change, it needs to come from a business I'm building, from a team I'm constructing, because I would have the liberty to act, to work on themes and impact that I want to drive with other people. So that's mainly something that also came seeing how the jobs currently work, or what's the opportunity for young people. I would also say, and that's really important, I think sometimes we are entrepreneurs without knowing it. Actually, when I started with the charity when I was 17, it was just during an Enactors competition, so a charity that helps towards social entrepreneurship. And I just told myself, okay, I see young people in the street in the north of France. I don't understand why. I see a lot of migrants, and I want to change that. And I want to help them. And so then I've partnered with students, and we've started and built this charity. But I was not telling myself, oh my God, wow, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm doing that. I want to solve this problem, and I want to have an impact. So that's how it all started. And to be honest, I've realized I was an entrepreneur in 2023, so kind of late. So it was like 6 years after starting. And so basically what I do want to encourage is that entrepreneurship is to identify a problem, to have ideas of solution, and then to take action. And I think if we see entrepreneurship that way, it will allow more people to become entrepreneurs, even within companies with entrepreneurship. So I think that's the angle I would like to take. And also I do feel that young people really want to engage and are not working to work anymore. And I think that's not only for young people, that's for even ex-young people, or every person, every ages. So I do think entrepreneurship allows people to have an impact. They allow themselves also to go in places in which I think if I would never have been an entrepreneur, I would never have been sitting here with you today. I would never have understood that if I want to do something, I just can do it, and I can thrive with other people and reach some goals I didn't even think about. So I think that's also entrepreneurship drives you to places and things that you had never imagined being possible at our age. So it's a really good way to go out the standards and to just try, and that's also risky, and that's also very hard. Like the entrepreneurship path is obviously hard, but it really allows you to go to places where you've never seen, and also to drive a huge impact, I think, that we would not have considered.
Yes, thanks a lot. No, I really like to say that you were an entrepreneur without knowing it, and I think it's the case of many people here. What about you? How did you become like a young entrepreneur?
Well, my entrepreneurial journey started in school, actually. So in Austria, there's a system for higher technical education called it's called the HTL, Higher Technical School, essentially, which prepares yours in the years before your A-levels, so before you mature in Austria. And next to the general education, it also provides you with a lot of technical skills. So in my case, that was higher informatics, and you learned everything from software engineering, database management, all the way to accounting and project management. And as part of this education, you had to do a diploma thesis and a diploma project. So essentially a technical project that showed you are able to not only talk the talk, but walk the walk, basically. And our research project back then that I did with some friends was about how can you kind of overhaul the European railway industry? How can you connect the different booking and planning systems that the EU is using, so DB Planner, OBB, and so on? Like, everyone has their own system, and that's kind of a mess. I'm not gonna lie about that. Back then, I honestly just wanted a good grade. I didn't really think I had the skills or the contacts or anything to become an entrepreneur, and so the same, like, my friends thought the same way. We wanted a good grade. But the supervising teacher for our project was an entrepreneur before, and he heavily encouraged us to take this project further and really show the world what we can do to build something out of this seemingly random school project. And he introduced us to Moonshot Pirates, which is also why I'm here today, because they're a YEPA member. And since then, it's been almost 5 years since I've been in this entrepreneurial community. And Moonshot Pirates has shown me what possibilities are out there. They've introduced me to a global network of other entrepreneurs, of other change makers that are building something, that they want to change something. And they've also introduced me to a wide range of experts all around the globe that have helped me over the past few years to really become the person I am today and try to change something in the world.
Brilliant, thank you. Maybe, Mateo, your journey, how did you become an entrepreneur?
In 2020, I met my co-founder, and he told me about this technology, this way of analyzing the brain with the EEG and the new evidence, and I found it very interesting. And he wanted to bring it to the normal clinics because it was being used in a specific clinic in the university hospital, but we wanted to bring it to the broader section and other clinics also. And I said, okay, how hard can it be? Okay, let's, I know how to program. Probably in a couple of months, we can launch it. This was in my brain, more or less. But our goal was always that this technology to be adopted in the broader clinics and by other people as well. And we became entrepreneurs in order to fulfill that goal. We didn't necessarily wanted to be entrepreneurs, but we said, hey, okay, we need to bring this technology. We want to be part of this revolution in psychiatry, and the way to do that ended up being, being an entrepreneur and founding the company.
Wow, that's brilliant. So I took note for later. Programming the physics of the brain is not that complicated. That's okay. I'll tell this to my son later. No, but what I see also is that yes, if I slowly start to learn about ChatGPT, I believe you're the king of and queens of technology and innovation. So I'd like to know quickly, maybe in a few sentences, how you see those change, and those change are going really, really fast. I mean, we moved from GPT-3 to GPT-5 Pro. So maybe for you, you're going much faster because from the top of a mountain, you come have a router, you say that go like 15 kilometers around Matrix.
Thank you. So for me, I'm going to start with a general kind of overview of how I think technology changed entrepreneurship and youth entrepreneurship. As you probably all know, the rise of AI has deeply changed basically every business model. Today, a team of 2 founders basically has the strength of 10 developers or something in their hands. Not only with AI chatbots, but AI agents, development environments, and so on. You have a cadence of development that is far, far, far faster than anything we've ever seen before. And also the capabilities of each and every one of us, even if you're not an expert in finance, for example, you're quite easily able to generate a financial model, other kinds of business models, do research in all kinds of environments. And this basically applies to every industry in at least some way. As for us specifically, we also operate in a quite regulated environment. Telco is quite a restricted industry, and I think that's a good thing also. But it's very hard to get into as a young founder, essentially. So before we ever started building our physical devices, our nodes, we actually built a full simulation suite on everything radio communications, on the physics of how radio waves transmit, and, for example, how terrain affects our capabilities. And we've gone from this completely virtual environment, thousands of tests, to creating something that actually applied to the real world and that we could then build. And now we have functional hardware that basically originated from just virtual tests that we started as a kind of feasibility study. So I think for heavily regulated industries, this is kind of a game changer, because the required capital to start or at least think about what to do is much, much less. Essentially, you just need a PC and some kind of AI chatbot to do the research. It wasn't that easy, but we'll simplify it for now. And I think this is going to be a huge change in a lot of the very regulated industries, be that telco or health or many other industries.
just on what you just say, like the way the youth is conceptualizing education is radically changing. And for me, this echo to, again, what was said about the need to invest on skills. And entrepreneurship is one of the needed skills. And so we have in the EU just set the new commission, the Union of Skills. And we do believe that it will be one of the ways to reinvent the way we want to have the young people developing their competencies and skills. So maybe we're going to do a last round of questions where I'm going to ask you quickly what was the biggest challenge you faced and how, obviously, one of the many, you overcome it, and to which extent this leads you to one key message you would like to share to the policymakers you have here.
I would maybe say the biggest challenge was maybe youth representation and youth consideration. It's really hard to see young people's success stories. I mean, mainly when we hear about entrepreneurship, we hear about Elon Musk and those big companies. And it's really hard to see young people that are actually doing crazy things.
I would say connecting and building platforms for entrepreneurs, business professionals, policymakers, and everyone to come together and speak internationally, really, because I've faced, especially when I first started out, a big challenge of people not really seeing the credibility in young people entering, especially regulated industries, because we might not have the policy knowledge and so on, but I think we do still have valid points and should discuss them.
Well, thanks a lot. I think we've been really lucky to share this moment with you. So I'd like a big round of applause to our three panelists.
Thanks so much to all our young entrepreneurs and for tuning in to this episode. We hope you learned something new and walk away feeling inspired by these entrepreneurs' journeys. For more on this topic, you can visit our website, oecd.org/CFE, as well as the YEPA Hub, yepa-hub.org. Until next time, I'm Tara O'Neill, and this has been an OECD podcast.
To listen to other OECD podcasts, find us on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and SoundCloud.com/OECD.